Good morning, Chevra. Good morning and good Yontif. As Kai mentioned, today is the anniversary of the release of the Middle Rebbe from prison, from the city of Vitebsk. It's a special Yontif that is continuously celebrated throughout the years, as Chabad would be a whole different ballgame had he not been released. And therefore, we celebrate today. Also, we celebrate Larry Stone as his Chayenu for the first time. It's a special Simcha. Came in the mail just before Shabbos, right? Now he gets to follow along inside together with the rest of us. Page 70 in this week's Chayenu for Sunday the 10th day of Kislev. Mike, you ready? Okay. The fulfillment of a mitzvah in the Torah is unique in that it inspires a flow of spiritual divine energy. When you do a mitzvah, it's similar to planting a seed, which arouses an energy to sprout a full tree. If an outsider looks and never understood what goes on, and he says, "What are you doing? You're putting this tiny little thing in the ground, and suddenly a tree is going to sprout forth." It's like bizarre. They're like, "Nah, that's never going to happen." So too, when you do a mitzvah, you bring tremendous spiritual energy and blessings upon yourself, upon your home, upon your family and your friends. Okay, let's read about this. In today's lesson, a halacha, Torah law, is a revealed expression of the will of Hashem. There's another common characteristic shared by all the laws of the positive and prohibitive commandments, including those that have no practical application. Like kosher, it doesn't seem like we understand why we can't eat milk and meat together. It's not unhealthy. A lot of people who are big and strong, they eat milk and meat together. Right? There's seemingly no reason. We don't know why. For in all contradistinction. Ooh, that's a big one. For in contradistinction, Larry, what does that mean? Like contradiction and distinction all put together. Why does he have to do that to us? In contradistinction, all intellectually generated fear and love experienced by the angels are created something from nothing. For they are created levels of nefesh ruach and not the godly level of neshama, of the world of Bria and Yitzira and Asiya. It's interesting because it says that the Malachim, they serve God with tremendous trepidation. Why? They don't have brains. They're not like human beings that are fearful and, have to worry about their mortgages and and avoiding traffic and, where's their next paycheck going to come from? They don't have that. Huh. So it's all a creation that Hashem creates, that the angels also are fearful. However, the detailed laws of the various mitzvahs are drawn down from the supreme wisdom of the Emanator, blessed be He. He's, I guess, trying to show that the angels come up from a certain level, but the laws and the mitzvahs come from a much higher level. You want to, let me move the piece so you can see it. Absolutely, absolutely. You know what? We'll dedicate the learning in his memory. His name is Moshe Soro Ben Yehuda David. Aguna David? Nuchuna David, okay. His neshama Shem Aliyah. So, Avaprati Allah Chesem Shachas Chachmei La the Matzil Baruch Hu Hamlubeshes Begashmios. The detailed laws and the mitzvahs come straight from Hashem. By the way, hint, hint. Why don't we understand them? Because they come from God. They come from His wisdom and His desire that we fulfill them. If they came from a lower level, so you would say, okay, it's even the Malachim are created something from nothing. They feel independent. So the mitzvahs that come all the way from God are closed within physicality, within physical objects. We say a bracha on an apple. Or like the Gemara talks about, you exchange a cow for a donkey. These are very physical things. This investment of supreme wisdom in the physical aspects of the laws is not similar to the investment of supreme wisdom in intellectually generated love and fear. We have intellectually generated love and fear. You could even say that the malachim do to a certain extent because, well, not necessarily intellectually generated, but generated. But this is much higher. It comes from all the way up the chain, straight from God. These mitzvahs that God gave us. Okay. So supreme wisdom is actually vested in all things, as soon will be explained. This is especially so with regards to the law and awe, which are aroused by intellectual activity. For the source of all such activity is the supreme wisdom. In intellectually aroused love and awe, however, the vesture takes on a different form. What's that? The hasam halavushu ma'ili u'masir legamre. Over there, the garment conceals and completely obscures the supreme wisdom that's vested within it. Just as the material earth thoroughly conceals the supreme wisdom clothed within it, all we see is the grass on the top, but what's underneath? We don't know what's going on down there. What happens and what takes place? You know, how the seed turns into a whole plant and then a sapling and then a tree and then suddenly it's bearing fruits. Unbelievable. As it is written, all of them concerning created beings, everything that's created, you made with wisdom. So supreme wisdom is thus vested within all physical things as well, even the earth, which, however, completely conceals it, just as intellectually aroused love and awe conceal the supreme wisdom. We might think it comes from. Sometimes we don't know where. By the way, this is actually a good thing to think about. Sometimes, why are you scared? Well, I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. That's why you're scared. So it comes from a high level that we don't know why. We don't know why. Hashem instilled within us a love and an awe. And it comes from supreme wisdom. And everything has it. Animals, the malachim, maybe even the vegetables and the minerals. What do we know? This supreme wisdom is the externality of the kelim, the vessels of Malchus of Atzilus, found in Asiyah, that's absolutely hidden in the Ruach Nefesh of Asiyah. By the way, Mindy, your dad knows what's going on up there because he's, his neshama is up in heaven. We're struggling to figure out what Alter Rebbe is talking about, but the souls sit in Gan Eden and they're like, this is easy stuff. We know. So, Malchus of Atzilus, the Alter Rebbe had a very, very special spiritual neshama that came from Atzilus, and he tried to break it down so that we could sit and learn it every day. But I got to tell you, after years of learning this, it's still a lot of times I scratch my head. I'm like, and if anyone online or if anybody here knows, please jump in and share with me what we're talking about. Because obviously we could say the words, we could translate them, we could pretend we know, but when we're talking about the higher worlds, we're talking about, the externality of the vessels of Malchus of Atzilus. Okay, it's the lowest level of Atzilus found in Asiyah. It's the next world down. No, Asiyah is our world. That's absolutely hidden in the Nefesh and Ruach of Asiyah. Okay, so Malchus of Atzilus, the lowest with the externality of the kelim of the vessels, is concealed in Ruach and Nefesh, those two levels of Neshama of Asiyah. Where do you think he got it? He learned Tanya every day. Malchus of Atzilus itself, even the externality, belongs to the realm of the neshama of the divinity, whatever that means. Okay? Yet it's entirely hidden within the nefesh and the ruach, which belongs to the realm of created beings. So since supreme wisdom is vested in Malchus of Atzilus, again, that's God's wisdom, and it's vested in the Malchus, the lowest level of Atzilus, the highest world, which is close to the essence of God. And Malchus of Atzilus illuminates Asiyah down the chain with its 10 spheres containing, as they do, the element of wisdom as well. We thus have supreme wisdom entirely concealed within the physical earth. It's almost like a teacher who's, a professor, and he's talking to his grandkid, and he I don't want to say the word dumbs down, but he blocks his, whatever concepts he wants to come up with, and he says, oh, let's play with the toys and let's draw a picture or whatever. Because if he would try to share his thesis on the theory of relativity or whatever it might be, it wouldn't catch, it wouldn't go. So Hashem, through the Seder Shtalshalos, brings down His wisdom into this world. How? In the mitzvahs, in the laws of and the different things that in all of creation. So too in Bria, it's completely hidden. Bria is the next level up from Asiya, from this world. So too Bria, it's completely hidden in the nefesh ruach of Bria. Which are beings that are created by concealment and hiding of the created from the created. And what's in Bria? Angels. Nefesh, ruach, souls. So we thus have here an element of supreme wisdom concealed within intellectually aroused love and fear, the source of which is the world of Bria, the realm of comprehension. This is not, however, with regard to the laws in which radiance of the wisdom illuminates them manifestly. They do not conceal it. The garment of Asiya serves merely as a passage. What does this mean? Though the law is vested in the physical things of this world, the physical world of Asiya are thus subject to the concealment that pervades Asiya. We don't see godliness in this world. He's hidden everywhere. But they're not garbed in it to the point that the garment essentially affects the wearer, for they're merely passing through the garment of Asiya. For example, on a festival, the chesed of Atzilus, chesed generally referred to as kindness, but here we're talking about in the order of Seder Shtalshalos. When chesed of Atzilus, which is completely clothed in chesed of Bria, vivifies this physical world. We were talking about it recently, how on Shabbos and on Yontif, there is an extra energy that you can't describe. You just feel it. You feel it. There was the Holy Ruzhiner was, Larry probably know this from the class, that the Holy Ruzhiner, even as a kid, his teacher asked them, what happens if somebody's going in the desert and he loses track of the days? How's he going to know when it's Shabbos? And the kid was like, what do you mean? You were there, Michael? He's like, what do you mean? How would you not know it's Shabbos? You could feel it in the air. You could look in the sky and you know that today is Shabbos. So the Ruzhiner was a very, very, big tzaddik. And even as a young kid, he was like, what kind of question is that? Shabbos and Yom Tov are different. There's a holiness and a feeling that you just can't duplicate on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Sunday. So Yom Tov, just as on the festivals, when Chesed of Atzilus is completely clothed in the Chesed of Bria, vivifies the physical world, al yedei maver Chesed Yitzir of Asiya, hanikra gam kein ishtalshus. By passing through the Chesed of Yitzir and Asiya, this passage is also called investment. She'im loy kein loy hayu poel gash b'seilam hazeh. If not, it would not affect the physicality of this world. So thus, just as with regard to the festivals, though animating light first passes through Yitzir and Asiya, it's considered to be an illumination of Chesed of Bria. So too, with regard to the laws, the light within the laws merely passes through the physicality it passes through the physicality with which they deal. It always retains a radiation of supreme wisdom. So that's why we feel that the Torah, the Tefillin, the mitzvahs that we actually hold have Kedusha. And it's interesting when it says passes through, Nati and I were debating this the other day. Once you're done with it, like we mentioned the festivals, we talked about the Esrog. Once you're done, it's not Shemus. But while you're utilizing it and saying the bracha, it's holy. Afterwards, you let it, whatever. We like to hold it as a tradition. We take it and we burn it with the chametz, the lulav. But once it's the supreme wisdom is passing through. So in the physicality of this world, as discussed in the laws, it unquestionably conceals completely even the chesed of Asiya. Often we don't see godliness even in the midst of this stuff. Still, even if we don't see it, the law is not actually physical. It seems to us as if it's physical, but it's really spiritual in nature. It is the divine will drawn from the superior wisdom for leniency or severity. God's wisdom affirms that it will be His will that a particular ruling be either lenient or strict. And there are cases like they couldn't figure out. There's a famous story. Do you guys remember when there was someone saying Kaddish and asked them to repeat the story? It happened with his father, and his father was a shaykhit, and they mixed up. There was one treif cow that got mixed in with everything else. Remember that story? So the guy told the story here. Anyway, they didn't know what to do, and they called a big Rav, and the Rav said that the halacha is you have to go and just tap, put your hand on the first one and declare it as treif, take it out, and the rest are kosher. That's the halacha. And they're like so shaken, like nervous. How could they do such a thing? They're about to go to the airport. Because it was like in Nebraska, like they don't stay there for Shabbos. They go there from, let's say, Monday to Thursday. They do the shechita. They're about to leave. And then right before they went to the plane, they all went running back. And one of them, I think it was Rabbi Turk, who ran back and said he remembered a simon that they left and they could figure out and deduce how they could figure out which one's kosher, which one's not, with a certain mark, which they had already done, but they did some calculation. These are that's the part which I have vague. But I've heard the story many times, and he shared the story. And they went back, and they found out that the exact one that they went in and randomly chose to remove, according to the Rav's instructions, that was the one that was treif. So what does that mean? That Hashem affirms that it will be His will. You could do whatever you want within the physical world. Ultimately, it all boils down to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's going to decide this is treif, this is kosher, this is Yontif, this is Shabbos, whatever it is, right? That's it. So from a physical standpoint, it seems to be the physical world. But from the spiritual standpoint, halacha is spiritual in nature. It's that Hashem's will trickled down just as water descends from a high place. Water is always going to find the lowest place. We know because we used to have leaks. Thank God we fixed them. But no matter how much you fix, it always finds its way down. So too, the will of Hashem descends and illuminates in real fashion in the realm of physicality. And it's the same with water, that it's now to be found in a low place. The physical object itself, which the law discusses, does in fact obscure godliness that we can't see it. As for example, in the laws of one who exchanges a cow for a donkey, or the laws concerning flesh that is pigul or is not pigul and is kosher, we don't know which one that is. That means the kohen did not have the right intention when he shechted this carbon, and then it gets mixed up. How do we know? There's no way to know. There's no mark. That in that particular case, there would be absolutely no way to know because it was only the kohen who had the machshava. In the other case, the shechita, maybe the shaykhit remembered after. That's maybe the knife got caught, and they could check, something that was ripped instead of sliced. Who knows what? But something that happened about machshava. So the actual cow or donkey or flesh do in fact completely conceal the radiance from the supreme wisdom. It's concealed. In contrast to stated above, that when holding a physical esrog, one is grasping Hashem. We learned that a few days ago, last week, that when you're shaking the lulav and esrog, you're holding the essence of God. The difference lies in the fact that the esrog is part of the mitzvah. As such, it has no identity other than godliness, and thus does not conceal it. I like how it says it doesn't conceal it. Meanwhile, it completely conceals it to us. And the Alter Rebbe says it doesn't conceal it. By contrast, the physical donkey or the cow are not part of the law. They can conceal godliness. With regard to the human intellect, however, which studies the law, since the intellectual cow and donkey are part of the law, they do in fact act as concealment. Only the legal ruling itself, with its revealed rationale, are from Malchus of Bria, meaning the reasoning of the Gemara, and of Yetzirah, meaning the ruling of the Mishnah, of the state of the Neshama. Shuhu Elikus, the Neshama is a part of God, and its godliness, godliness brings to life and brings into being the Nefesh and Ruach of Bria Yitzir Nasiya, which are in the category of created beings. We're almost done, which are the awe and the love of the angels and souls and their chacham v'inadas, chabad, meaning the contemplation of God's greatness that leads to love and fear. All this is created and vivified something from nothing as all created beings. So even the love and fear is a creation, something from nothing. L'chein he meravet tzimoinam, as to the radiation of supreme wisdom that descends and comes through in the form of Torah and is found in those worlds prior to its descent here in this world. It therefore slakes the thirst of the souls and angels in the worlds of Bria. It's like satisfies. S-L-A-K-E-S. So it slakes the thirst before it descends into this world like descending waters. So even after descending into Asiya, it transcends by far the Chabad of Asiya, even the state of Neshama, which is godliness. But this is godliness of Asiya. Okay. So the takeaway for today is don't be fooled by the materialistic nature regarding which the laws of the Torah concern themselves. Buying property, selling, doing a kinyan, cow, this one gores that, two people ripped a talis, even the tefillin that it's made from a cow. Don't be fooled by it. Concern ourselves instead with the law itself, that if it comes from Hashem, it comes from His wisdom, even though we don't see it always, but it's all mamish Hashem. It's spiritual in nature, but it's covered over in physicality. So from our perspective, it looks physical. But in actuality, if we're able to have like that spiritual vision, that X-ray spiritual vision, we would see that there's godliness hidden just beneath the surface. All right, so that was some deep stuff today, Chavra. Tomorrow's a lot shorter. Yeah, Alter Rebbe gave us a big one for Sunday because he knew we can handle it. Have a good day, folks. Take care. Hey, guys. Good to see you guys. We missed you on Shabbos.